Hey kids, you're listening to the internet's wettest podcast about video games, consoles, and pancakes. The SML Podcast.
Prepare for the SML Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining as usual, Pernell, Chris, Aki. How are you three doing?
I'm doing
hard
good.
but good. Doing good. I just did my.
Go ahead.
No, after you, sir.
Oh no. I was I just didn't realize you were like I started talking at the same time you started talking. So.
All right, we both do that. So
knife fight to see who talks first.
How about a nice fight?
Gets to talk.
I like nice fights. This is why he should win, because he came up with the idea.
Aki, you pick who talks first, Pernell or Chris.
Pernell.
There you go.
Oh, I'm tired but good. I just had my Tuesday event and it went well, but the downside is that I gotta keep going. So, energy low, joy high. So let's get down to business.
Chris, your turn. How are you doing?
I am sleepy as usual, but I had a nap, so and a pasta and a bread bowl from Domino's.
Were they the same product?
Huh?
A pasta Red Bull?
No. Pasta in a bread bowl.
Oh, that's not as good.
I thought you said a pasta and Red Bull.
I do
That's
have
what
a
I
Red
heard
Bull.
too.
I do also have a Red Bull.
Oh, okay.
And a bread bowl.
Very good.
They need to make a drink called a bread bowl.
Barry's in chat. What
I'm
the
sure
hell?
it
Get in here,
exists some
dude.
beer. I'm sure there's some beer that's like that. I mean, it's not too hard to do. Just put some, rosemary in it. Call it a beer
There you
that's
go.
actually bread. Boom, you get the bread bowl. I'd drink it.
What up, Sperry? Andy Sperry's
What's up,
here.
nerds?
Hi, Sperry.
What's up, dudes?
How are you doing, Andy?
Not much.
Doing pretty good, dude. Doing pretty good. Just coming off a long stream, man.
Would you
Jump into
stream?
another one.
Dude, I did. Well, you popped in, man. You saw a couple of games that I played, but I downloaded a bunch of demos today. It's the Steam Next Fest, and so I played game after game after game after game, dude.
Any highlights you want to talk about?
I mean, do you want to talk about it right now? Do you want me to wait, dude? Do you want me to do a segment, dude? I can tell you about some stuff, man. Yeah.
If you want to do a segment, hell, we could do a full segment later on if you want.
Up to you, man. I can tell you a couple of highlights, or whatever.
Sure,
Full
we'll
segment, make life
throw that.
easier.
We'll throw that as a segment later on. A topic I actually wanted to talk about because I know Pernell, Chris, and Andy, you all got one. How are y'all enjoying your Switch 2s or the Super Switch, as I named mine?
Super Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
Super Switch.
All at the same time. We love it.
Yay.
I mean, I love that I have one. I have not had time to open it, so I'm doing a Pernell right now.
Oh no.
There it is.
Are you setting it up
One
right
of
now?
us. One of us.
Maybe.
Pernell, have you opened yours?
I actually did open mine, but only because I felt like if I didn't open it, given the manner in which I purchased it, it would have been stupid because I pre-ordered it from Target and Target fucked up the pre-order structure in an annoying way. So on the day of release, right before I started my work shift in the morning, I just drove to Target when they opened, just walked right to the counter and bought a Switch 2 while waiting for my other Switch 2 to come in the mail. And I figured if I went through all that, though it wasn't a lot, it was literally 20 minutes of driving and 5 minutes in the store, but still, if I went through all that and then didn't open the system before the second system showed up, that would be kind of ridiculous. So I did open it up and set it up and play like a race or two in Mario Kart. Saw there was a golden turtle shell. I was like, okay, I'll play it some other time, I'm sure. And that was that. it's what I wanted it to be, another Switch, though I really don't like how it manages my my digital content, especially because I was hoping to move the account, not the ownership of every game, to the other Switch, the one with the meager storage space compared to the one with the terabyte memory card. So
yeah,
that's annoying.
It is weird how it handles digital ownership now with the virtual game card.
The funny thing about it is that in general, if you're just looking at, I have two Switches, that's probably better. The problem is when you had no intention of moving your ownership, I just wanted to move the profile. So I could like, okay, I log in here, my profile's already on the system, let's go. Which I guess in the grand scheme of things, it would make sense to move your ownership because that's part of a profile. It just seems stupid that it doesn't let you choose or something to just say, we realize you're moving a terabyte of games to a 200 gig system. What do you want to take? So It was kind of annoying in that regard. So now I just have a lot of games on a Switch that are installed but aren't owned by the Switch One. So I have to go through and like reattribute ownership to all of them. It's kind of stupid.
Yeah, I was lucky. I grabbed a 512 card to pop in my system. Walmart had a 512 on brand one. It's like their in-house brand for $70. I know it's probably not as reliable as a SanDisk or something, but $70 for 512, I'll take it. I'll deal with it. And
as long as it doesn't melt the system, it's not a big deal, I think.
And as I copied games over, I just paid attention to what was big and what I didn't need, because either I owned it on another system through either getting it cheap or review codes or whatever else. So I would delete stuff that I didn't need, or bigger games that I know I would never touch again. And I got it just like 500 gig.
Damn, dude. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how Chris and Pernell are gonna make this work.
I'm definitely gonna see if I have any options here. Yeah.
I mean, I already said what I'm going to do. I'm going to slowly but surely just try to move certain ownerships back to the original Switch and leave them there, because I personally don't think to have them all on the Switch too. I'm not getting rid of my original Switch. I had no intention of that.
Me neither.
I
you kidding me? I got Dragon Quest controllers for mine.
That's fair.
Well, I mean, Dragon Quest Joy-Cons, you mean?
Yeah, no. Yeah. The Hori Split Pad Pro.
Okay, I'm about to say the Joy-Con, the controller should work on the Switch too also, so that wouldn't be a reason, because you can still use them.
Joy-Cons, yeah.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, you can't move those bad boys. But yeah, it's like, there's no, I can understand if you had a normal collection, and I hate saying it that way, but it's legitimately true. If you had a normal collection, Chris and I don't have normal collections. We have very abnormal collections. So
we're a little aberrant.
That's right. And with that established, to move to that system with all those games doesn't make any sense, especially because even though I know I'm not going to be buying as much on the Switch 2 as I did on the Switch 1, largely because a combination of, the new way they're handling things, but also I have a Steam Deck, which became my indie platform. I still feel like glutting up Switch 2 storage space with Switch 1 games when I intend to get eventual games on the Switch 2 in its own right. If the game isn't going to benefit from the Switch 2 and I'm going to play it on the Switch 2, there's no reason to put it on there.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Is there a way to just sign in and start over, with my Nintendo account without transferring all the ownership?
I didn't try. I was I'm of the mind that I have a Switch 2. I no longer need a Switch 1 because it's redundancy in my. So I would rather sell it, preferably to someone who's interested in. Apparently, launch Switches are moddable. And I know a lot of people like to dabble in homebrew and stuff like that. And I figure a launch Switch with a 1 terabyte card, that could get me a few bucks that I spent on a Switch too.
Reimburse a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I never get rid of systems, especially when I feel like they're still like kind of relevant. It's like how a lot of people got rid of their 3DS when they got a Switch.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't doing that. That wasn't even a backwards compat there. It was just like, all those games, trash.
I mean,
All about
when I
the
got a
new
3DS
hotness now.
when I got a 3DS, I did get rid of a DS, which was a mistake because I put 350 hours into Dragon Quest IX on a 3DS, which actually introduces a bit of lag versus the original DS.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it actually runs better on the original DS than on a 3DS.
Whoa, I did not know that.
I learned it from a speedrunner because there's different speedrun categories for if you're using a DS or a 3DS or an emulator.
You learn by watching him.
Yeah, so it's like it's not a big deal. It's like it's frames. It's not like it's chugging or anything like that. But yeah, it was just like, well, there's still, and also like I kind of miss like the controls of like a DS Lite. I really like DS Lite. I miss the squishiness of the D-pad, for instance. I really like that.
For me, it was all about that the DSi XL. That was my baby.
See, I missed that one because I was broke at the time. But yeah, that's as from everybody I know that had one, that was like a really good one. So I don't know. I don't like to get rid of systems if I can still play them. The money doesn't mean anything to me. It's just going to go towards video games.
Yeah.
Like the PS4, I slightly regret getting rid of sometimes, but that might be like the weirdest exception to that rule. And deep down, the money. Oh, so there it is. So you know what's up. Because like the trade-off is also, like you said earlier, like the money I could get for selling it. Hell, the money I could have got for selling it when the PS5 came out was negligible in the sense where it's like it wasn't going to be a make or break situation. I know that comes from a place of privilege. I'm okay with acknowledging that. It's just saying I didn't feel like what I would have got from it would have justified the shift over when I could have been like, okay, maybe I'll use this PS4 at some point. You never know.
Yeah,
and if I don't, whatever.
It's privilege at a certain point for sure. But I mean, like a lot of things are like having a roof over our heads, for instance, not being actively kicked out of the country for another. No. But I think that like as gamers, you know, we kind of we make our choice. We throw our lot in with like a certain hobby, and it's just kind of like, you know, you just do what you can as far as that goes. It's we're exchanging, I don't know, sports memorabilia or, you know, a huge comic book collection, like whatever you feel like you would have gotten into that got kind of taken over by video games. You know, there's only so much room that one has in your time of day and living space and money and budget and all this stuff for like certain things. So for me, it's like I just solidly made the decision that the only two things I truly care about are video games and music. And so my closet's full of guitars, my shelves are full of video games.
And in my case, video games and board games.
Yeah.
My shelves are full of video games, and everywhere else in my house is full of board games, literally.
Yeah, see, I own actually I own 3 board games.
Well, now you gotta tell me what they are, because there's only 3, so it shouldn't be hard to tell me.
Well, I can tell you what 2 of them are off the top of my head, and the third one I'm just like, I know I'm forgetting one. So let's just say 2. I have Bob Ball, which is the official Church of the Subgenius board game. I have the last copy in existence.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because, okay, so here's the story. I went to Houston to play bass for Akira Yamaoka, the composer of the Silent Hill games.
No, that's the real story. Tell us that.
That's it's burying the lead a little bit to make this a board game thing. But I've talked about the Akira Yamaoka show before. It was very good. Danimal Cannon was there. Who else was there?
Animals fucking everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it's rare to see him in Houston. So not rare, but you know, not as much as like up north.
Medium rare.
Would you call
medium
it
rare?
A
Thank you.
Unique moment?
Unique. I mean, it was for me because it only happened one time. Unique. But yeah, Gimmick was we just had basically like Lobos had just left the band, and so we were like kind of like reconfiguring. So I was back on bass, and Kenny and Justin were doing their thing. But yeah, we got asked to be his backup band, and so we actually had the perfect like situation where it was like, well, we got a bass. They need a bass player, a guitarist, and a drummer, and we got all three of those. Oh, and a vocalist. Our friend Siren Star did vocals. And so yeah, we went out there to play with them, and it was really, really great. But anyway, it was a thing called Replay, and there was a board game, not a board game seller, but it was a board game seller, just like kind of a hobby seller / board game seller. And they had they had Bob Ball, and I was really excited because even though I'm a bit young for it, it's pretty much a Gen X thing. But it's also like a Texas thing, and it's definitely like a, like Devo, Mark Mothersbaugh considers himself a sub-genius. It's very much in that camp of silly absurdist humor from like the pre-internet age. The Church of the Sub-Genius is just fun to me, and like so I observe it as my religion since I'm kind of without otherwise. And so to see Bob, the 50s clip art of a 50s business salesman, that's who they kind of worship. To see him on a board game, I was like, oh, I got to know about this. And so I asked him about it, and they were like, yeah, this is the official Church of the Sub-Genius game. We got with the original creators of the Sub-Genius religion and got him to sign off on it and all this other stuff. I was like, all right, great, I'll take it. And so I bought it. And he was like, great, that was the last one. I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, we decided to go a different direction after basically so we didn't have to pay them any more money. So we're rebranding the game as something more original. And so it's not like branded as a Sub-Genius thing. And that was actually our last copy of the batch. So it's gone now.
You have a relic.
I do, yeah. And so I was like, well, damn. Hope I can find somebody to play this with me. And I haven't. But again, it's not for
VGM Con with you.
Yeah, I might do so if somebody really wants to play that with me, a board game enthusiast. I was hoping to Brooke and I ever end up hanging out again in person. That would be a cool thing to be like, let's learn this.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, you definitely with you if we ever hang out.
There's Church of the Doob Dub. I'm in.
Yeah. Then the other one's less interesting. It's just the Sonic and Knuckles board game that came out with the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. It was just at HEB, and I was like, it's a Sonic board game. Okay, I'll take it.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I have not played that one yet, and yeah. And then I'm just gonna say, like, I don't even think I currently own one. I'm like actually I should buy one. I was gonna buy like a deluxe version of it, but Scrabble is my game, so I actually love Scrabble. I play it a lot and very well.
You ever tried that Bananas game or Bananagram, something like that?
Bananagram?
You know what I'm talking about?
Bananagrams is people like Bananagram. It's a good one.
I don't know. I was thinking if you like Scrabble, dude, it's like Bananagrams is kind of like that in a way where you just get a bunch of tiles and you try to make words out of it. Oh,
yeah. It's like a quick and dirty, like, Scrabble.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think I've played it like once. There's also one called Upwards that I liked.
Yeah, Upwards is good.
Yeah, it's where you're like building words over the words and like replacing letters rather than utilizing them. I mean, you can still utilize them, but if you have another tile that would all change the word to something else, you can place that on top of the letter and grab those points. I haven't played Upwards though in like 20 years.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
So I like board games, but I'm not a board game guy. I'm a video game and music guy. That was my point.
I also like video games. And I know we were talking about the Switch 2. I love my Switch 2. I've actually brought it out of the box. I've been playing it. I've been on the Mario Kart grind, dude. That game is freaking hard. There's a lot of TikToks.
Stuck in Mario Kart lately.
Dude, this like 8 was really good, and this one is really good, and I think there's a lot of TikToks and social media that is shitting on the Switch 2 and all the games for it. and
for
I
sure.
think it's awesome.
Kind
It's
of
one of
like,
those things where
Switch
it's
2
like-
doesn't have any games. Like, if
Well, yeah,
it launched
exactly,
with
yeah,
fucking 20 games, and then it
And
has
they're all
the
remakes.
entire
It's
Switch
just-
lineup.
Yeah.
To me, I won't even say that. It's more like they're picking specifically on the Switch compared to systems in the past. When one, with few exceptions, this lineup is not much different from a lot of other launch console lines, where it's like one or two new games, and then a bunch of ports, or in the case of this system, upgrades, as they call them now. In this case, and
I
it's
wanna-
like, right.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was gearing up.
Oh, just the idea that they're acting like this launch is somehow different from a lot of the other launches we've had in the last few months or years, or not months, but the last few years, where you get a cycle. I remember buying the PS4, and people were like, "Oh, it's got so many great games on it." I don't remember really wanting much of shit for that thing when it came out. I think I bought what was that game where it was like Save the Last Human? It was like you flew a ship around a circle or whatever. I bought that. And then eventually I bought Returnal when that came out. And no, Returnal was PS5. That's even worse. So it goes to show you. I played the freaking ship game, and like there was like another House Marquee game that may have came out down the line, but there was really nothing I gave two shits about on the PS4 launch. Xbox launch, I think I didn't buy the system at all until Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came out. Like there are rarely launches where it just has this so-called amazing lineup of games. Like the Dreamcast had a phenomenal lineup at launch. And you were replicating that shit. PS2 had what? SSX and Fantavision?
I want
Let's
to
never forget the stellar N64 launch lineup of
Mario
games.
and Pilot Wings.
Mario
Everyone
64
bought
and Pilot Wings, yeah.
And that's it. That's all you get.
Well, even
And
the
it took
Switch
me-
launched with like a couple of games, and some of them were just like 1-2 Switch or snipper clips too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, let me take you back to 2006 to the Wii, which people were complaining because it came out with 2 racing games in the same launch. Oh my god! One of them was Excite Truck. One of them was Excite Truck, which is an excellent S Plus game. It's my favorite racing game of all time and my favorite Wii game. And then Monster 4x4 World Circuit, which had come out on Xbox earlier that year. The original Xbox, not like 360. And like, yeah, and then there was like, no Mario game, what is this? Because it came out with Twilight Princess. Not Twilight, yeah, it was Twilight Princess. And like, yeah, just like...
And I love that damn game.
I remember that Carnival Games was like the only like child-focused game that came out for like all of the rest of 2006. So like everybody bought it.
I remember because my friend worked for the company at the time. He talked about how it was like their best-selling game, and it like surprised everybody.
It was number 1 for so long because everybody had a Wii
franchise. It became a franchise because
it's still going.
Bored people bought it for the Wii.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I played. Don't think I didn't play that thing. I played the whole thing. It's not good.
It's not good. Made sure to follow up with that statement. It's not good.
Yeah, I helped a friend with an article he wrote about basically like the 10 worst Wii games in the first year that it was, and that one. I don't know if that one made the list. That's how bad the Wii's first year was in terms of like how many bad games came out for it. But that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, I was just gonna say the Wii's launch was like, pretty crazy. And there was one more I wanted to talk about. I know the GameCube one was pretty like, not great. No, I mean it was just like
Luigi's
light.
Mansion, Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, it was light. It wasn't that it was bad. It's just
I like that they had sports games that needed memory cards that didn't exist.
Right.
Disney's Tarzan Untamed. Don't forget that one, dude. Joe, you were big into that.
Oh yeah.
Do y'all
being
remember
serious about that? That was a big game, like a game that you liked a lot.
No.
No.
Oh,
This
just
one-
hey, it's the way he said it.
But there
said
were
it
sports games that
I'm
needed more
so
memory
convinced.
than were on memory cards. Happened with, I
Yeah.
believe, the PS2 as well. Like you had to wait for a third-party, bigger memory card to release before you can even save your friggin' games.
Now, I will give people the benefit of the doubt, at least on the two things, even though in that regard, I'm still kind of like back and forth on it. One, the easiest to refute is they're talking about the end user agreement, which, while it does suck, and I agree with the issues people have with it, the thing I have an issue with is the fact that people are having this issue now as opposed to before, because you haven't owned your shit for a long time. I don't know
Since the
who
Wii.
told you any different. Since the Wii, yeah, like you haven't owned your shit for a while. Hell,
read your
it was like, sign on for you make sure to sign your EULA before you play it.
Yeah.
You can't even play the game without getting online to sign a fucking EULA. Like, no, you don't own your shit. You haven't owned your shit for a while. And go
and
ahead.
I don't know, I was just gonna say two supporting points there. Is that it's in the Switch's EULA, it's in the Wii's EULA, the Wii U's, and the current Switches or the Switch ones. If you read through your current Switch, you will see the exact same paragraph. The other thing, they really don't enforce it.
They don't. It's like covering their asses. The only time they really get down to dirty with it is if you find yourself, literally modding your system and getting popped, which has been true since the dawn of fucking time with like downloadable games and shit.
Yeah.
That's my second supporting point. No hacker has ever fallen for that. Like, no one's tried to mod their Wii without having a safeguard in place to keep that from happening, and it's so easy.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Like they're
It's just-
usually not going to ban your account. They'll just ban your system so that you buy another system and hopefully learn your lesson. Back in the day, I've known plenty of people who would have an Xbox 360 ban because they had a mod chip in it and they played backups.
Mm-hmm. And that
what
was
would
still
they
kind of
do?
their own fault because they didn't go on. They went online like knuckleheads.
What would they do? They would trade it to GameStop and buy a different one.
Right.
Oh, God. Hey,
Yeah,
GameStop, you sold me this brick.
Like, again, it's one of those things where it's like, why in the world would you ever think Nintendo or even like a small indie company, if a small indie company was selling you some hardware, why would they be like, oh, by the way, we're totally cool if you open this up and just play all the games for free. We have no protection against that whatsoever. We have no recourse. Just like, you're welcome to just do whatever you want with this thing.
I
Mm-hmm.
like
like,
that the people who are pissed about it aren't the ones who want to do homebrew and tinker and do different things with it. The people who get pissed are the ones who want to pirate.
Yeah. And
Welcome.
again, I'm all for piracy. I'm just like, personally, my opinions do not reflect those of the SML podcast or Mr. Joe or Pernell or
I look like a pirate, so I support it.
Yarrrr.
yo ho ho. But it's just like, it's the complaining is silly. It's just like, just shut your mouth and do your usual thing. You'll be fine. We've been fine since 2006. When they introduced the whole online thing. I bet you that it's somewhere in the GameCube documentation, in fact, since it had the broadband adapter, but I don't know. By the way, I just ran across this on Blue Sky, but Switch 2 has now hit over 3.5 million units sold worldwide.
Nice.
The Switch 2 has?
Yeah.
Damn.
I thought it hit 3
So-
million in day one.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Really good. Like,
I've only got the
usually
one,
they
and
don't
that's
have
good.
the supply to sell that many at launch.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, for my Switch 2 acquisition story, since I haven't opened it, so I can't talk about the actual system yet. Yeah, we so I failed the pre-order, right? I talked about that on a previous episode. They Best Buy was like, "You're in line." And then as I was checking out, they're like, "We canceled your order." I was like, "Damn it." And then I tried to get on Walmart and GameStop and stuff. None of it. GameStop was like an absolute last resort. But yeah, so it was just like I didn't get one, but Catherine got a pre-order. And so she opted to do the pick up in store at our local Best Buy. So we decided to go to the midnight launch. That was 2 hours of standing there playing Dragon Quest on my analog pocket. Just
Nice.
ringing the bell for the year 2000. And
That does not surprise me in the least.
yeah, I was doing the achy feet dance like about 2 hours in. I was just like, shifting my weight from foot to foot like all the time and like kicking out a foot and twirling it. These are all things I learned in retail, how to kind of, relax your feet a little bit when you're on them too much. And anyway, so Best Buy had two lines. They had one line for people who were there to pick up their pre-order, and then a line for people who were there to just buy the system because they had a lot of extras. And so I decided not to stand in the extras line because I was like, that line is way longer, and I don't think I'm going to get through. It's wrapped around the building. This is pretty bad. So I'm just going to stand here and play my Dragon Quest and get in there, and we'll see what's up. So the thing is about the Best Buy is that they let in the people who were there to buy it first. Obviously, Best Buy being a retailer, they want the people who are there to spend money then to like get in the building first and out of there first. So they started with that line, got a whole bunch of people in there, and then started kind of taking turns. So it'd be like letting in like 6 people at a time or something because they had, special lines. And that's why it took so long. So by the time we got up there, we were towards the back of the line. So then the line of the first-time buyers at 2 a.m. was gone. There was nobody else in that line. So when we got in, I was like, hey, can I just buy one? There's no line there for buying people anymore. And they were like, yeah, sure.
Nice.
Like, you have a different account, right? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, all right, here you go. So
Rock on.
That's pretty good, dude.
That's how I got mine. They had plenty of the regular and the bundle. They sold out the next day, of course, but the midnight
we should
release.
Also
go ahead.
We should also touch on the other point too, being the game prices. $80, $70 to $80 a game. I definitely get the issue behind. I get people being upset about that, but with me, what I'm taking that to represent is one, getting games on sale. If I don't feel like I want to pay that much for something, I'll get it when it's a little cheaper because all sales generally happen. And the other part is, quite frankly, I might just buy less stuff, which is also a reasonable take. Like, stuff gets more expensive, and you don't have to like it, but there's ways around it as opposed to just being like, because it's going to happen. Like, capitalism is going to do its dumb shit. And as much as people want to say, well, if you're buying it, you're supporting. But the truth of the matter is, it's the same kind of note as why we haven't got rid of scalpers yet, despite the fact that we all know what they do and we know how the whole concept works. Fact of the matter is, when it comes to games, people can afford games. And when they want to entertain themselves and they're willing to pay for the game, they're going to pay for it. And the fact of the matter is, people can afford it. So they're going to do it. You can choose not to buy something, but it just means you'll be the one not doing something that you want to do.
I love that the scalpers are getting like kind of, I hate that word, but like I love that they're getting screwed over.
Yeah.
Oh, you love it. Both.
I love it.
Yeah. Because I checked the next day on Craigslist and it was like $650, $700, and they're still there.
Try to bring them prices down. Like, could someone please think of the scalping?
That's so right. Dude. I went to Costco Thursday morning and waited like 15 minutes to get one. Super easy. Everybody that was talking about like it being so hard was wrong.
To Pernell's point about game prices, when I looked at the lineup, I only saw, in my view, and this is just going to GameStop and casually looking, I only saw one $80 game, and that was Mario Kart, the game I already owned. Like Bravely Default's like $40. There's
that's
a
the
couple
one I
other. Yeah, a couple of the ports are like 40 or 50. I think wasn't Cyberpunk 2077 70 or 80?
I think that was 69.
I'm not sure.
I think that one was
69.
70. But I didn't see the $80 across the board thing. Like it's just, I'm gonna look at Cyberpunk 2077 Switch 2 just to. Yeah, it's $70 right now. Yakuza 0 is $50.
And just to make sure I'm not forgetting, PlayStation 5 and not even Xbox, but PlayStation 5, Xbox 2, they're $70 now, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're 70 now, and the damage is done. They're going up to 80 in the fall. Outer Worlds 2 is an $80 game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Call of Duty will be an $80 game, minimum.
Easy.
The damage
So
is
it's
done.
like...
So.
And honestly, I'm fine with it. Like, again, it's, I pay way more than $80 for an old game now. So I just bought a copy of Breath of Fire 4, and that was more than $80.
Yeah.
What on PS1? How much? What? Well,
Yeah,
you probably don't want to
PS1.
say, but
it's going for
still
like
have that,
it's going for like $100 to $150. I got the much lower end of that, but it's been like that for a long time. Huh?
I said hot diggity sausage because I still have that one, so it's like yay. I always like hearing about
Tears of the
games
Kingdom
that
was
always
80.
selling for a good amount.
Yeah. Just think of every game like a collectible now.
Pretty much.
Well, and again, may I remind people that Final Fantasy quote unquote 3 on the Super Nintendo in 1994 retailed at $89.99.
Yep.
So
And Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. What we did is we enjoyed a period starting in the aughts of a normalized $50 or so like threshold, with exceptions, of course, for most video games because everybody was using kind of like the same media. Games were only sold physical. So it's like there wasn't like this premium for anything. And it's like, the technology was like kind of normalized too. It's like everybody was just kind of on the same standard. It's like everything just kind of stabilized for a bit, but it fluctuated, a whole lot in the past, and it's now fluctuating a whole lot here in the future. So it's just like, it was a period of time that happened. It's not like this is always the way gaming
Prices
was.
dropped because they went to disc media. Physical game prices dropped because of switching to discs. Because the N64
because they didn't have to account
is still
for
stupid expensive.
Which one?
And now they're rising
N64
because they're
games.
going to digital. Woohoo!
No, they're
Yeah,
rising
N60
because development costs have skyrocketed.
Yeah, and despite what was it? Was it Claire Obscure Expedition 33? They were bragging about it being made by like only 10 people, 30 people?
Oh no,
They said
Jeff
33
Keighley
people.
was saying it was.
Yeah,
They were like, "Oh, it was only made by 30," and the devs are like, no, there were a bunch of us here."
yeah.
But they actually responded to that? Because I watched a thing the other day where they made that same claim. Like it was developed by 33 people, and I haven't beaten the game. So I
The
don't know
core
what that
team
like.
was like that. They hired a
It
whole
was
bunch
a
of
small core team
outside
but-
people.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people are outsourced now because there's no friggin' jobs.
yeah.
Mm.
Carnage has a good point in chat.
So those-
Xbox is going to get a lot of. I think they're going to gain a lot of ground because of Game Pass and the fact that you could get $80 games day one on the service.
I was thinking
Yeah.
too.
But
Yeah,
Nintendo's
someone's
never had
phone
to
was
worry
going
about what
off.
Xbox does.
Sorry about that buzzing if you heard that. That was an unfortunate reason, but it came through.
That was me agreeing robotically. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Robot.
Anyways, Nintendo's never had to worry about Xbox. They aren't really in competition with anybody but themselves.
I know. I'm just saying in
Yeah.
terms of like overall, in terms of these $80 games that first parties are going to start doing now. I think Game Pass is really enticing, even if you're only on PC Game Pass. Because
I know we're not on. Oh, I was just gonna say I know we're not on news right now, but did you see that Game Freak game that's going to be exclusive to Xbox?
No?
Oh, it was on the.
I didn't know about the exclusive part. But
Well,
I did see
it only said it was coming out on that. Maybe Steam as well. I don't know. But,
I thought about when I saw, I was like, wow, they finally got away. They were able to break away from Pokemon for a little while and do something they wanted to do.
Yeah, Beast of Reincarnation. That's what it is.
That one looks so sick, dude.
I didn't know
really
that was
cool.
Game Freak.
Yeah, Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they developed other stuff besides Pokemon, especially back in the day. You know, Mendel Palace, Pulse Man, whatever. But,
absolutely. But then when
This
Pokemon
doesn't
happened,
look like a Game Freak title at all.
yeah, they hadn't done anything that seemingly on this kind of scale, and like with that the amount of care that folks been wanting from the Pokemon games lately. But yeah, it looks really cool. Actually, like
Looks
looking
to
to check
be
that out.
Xbox, Windows, and PS5.
Oh, it is PS5. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't see the PS5 logo in the trailer, so they must have. Okay.
Not Wikipedia.
Never mind
showing
then. I didn't know it was.
PS5,
I didn't know it was an exclusive. Do what?
I'm just going off of what Wikipedia is saying. So
Oh yeah. Oh, and they did that Little Town Hero as well. So that one's, but again, not the scale that
yeah, pretty bonkers. I did not realize that was Game Freak. That's ridiculous. Wow.
noise.
Oh
Yep.
man. So, anyone else want to talk about? Or should we dive into reviews?
No. Games?
I
like
no.
No.
That was
Tell
great.
you, Mario Kart, dude, it's those CPOs, dude. They're goated, man. They're too good.
CPOs.
I think I played like 2 hours of Mario Kart so far. I haven't done a single race. I've just
Dude.
driven around.
Someone
pretty
just
fun.
needs to help me figure out how to get better at the fucking game, because I used to think I was good back in the old days. And I played Mario Kart 8 in a tournament last week, got stomped, and now I'm playing this. I went right to 150cc, stomped, and I'm trying to figure out what am I doing wrong here aside from sucking.
Coming for
Right.
Mario Kart Mondays, bro. Come hang out.
There's a Mario Kart Mondays?
I do Mario Kart Mondays, bro.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Every
You have to
Monday,
tell me
dude.
more
We're
after
racing.
this.
We racing, dude.
I have to look into that. 'Cause that would be nice to help maybe play human players and get better. I just have to come into it knowing I'm going to get my ass stomped because you guys do Mario Kart Mondays.
Nah, dude. We got all levels of people in there too, man. There's people that play once or twice, or only play once a week. So
Nice.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's pretty fun.
Okay, don't be surprised if you see me. Well, I have to figure out how to find it and pop in. But yeah, I would not mind doing that and seeing what all
Yeah.
the fuss is about and get my
Dude,
skill
yeah, hit me
up.
up, man. Roll through, dude. We always have a good time.
Y'all gonna be
Okay.
playing any Monster 4x4 World Circuit? Because that's my game.
Dude, that sounds cool, man. I'd
Oh,
be
you
into
want
that.
Excite Truck.
Yeah, I do want Excite Truck. You got me.
One of
This
the most
Monster
exciting
4x4
fucking
World
rules.
Circuit is more expensive to buy than Excite Truck, which is so silly to me.
That's crazy. Dude, did
Then
anyone
again-
pick up any other non-Mario Kart launch games?
No, sir. I just bought the system when it was packaged with Mario Kart. So I did hear that Fast Fusion came out, and I might look into that because I like the original one.
Yeah, I'm
I
on
wanted
that one too.
to, but yeah, I wanted to buy Bravely Default Remake, but since it's the digital version on a access card or whatever, I'm just gonna download it.
Oh, it's one of the key card ones.
Yeah, it's one of the key card ones, but
Yep.
I mean, I already own the special edition of the 3DS game, so it's like I have all the extra knickknacks and physical edition that I need. It's just, yeah, it'll be downloading the remaster. But that does interrupt my uninterrupted streak of buying all of the Bravely Default games physically and not playing them.
I mean, in your defense, it's not physical; it's just fake physical. So I think
Yeah.
your streak is still secure.
Yeah. No, I don't need to be putting a game card in just to access a game
Switch
that's already
to
in
key
there.
cards. All the annoyance of physical without the benefits.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, it's
It
That
is
is the
double
one
dopey
thing.
And the same
I
price.
think it makes it double dopey too, because I remember there was that point where it's like, well, the point of a digital release is to reduce the need to have physical properties and the shipping costs going to stores and take up shelf space, yada yada yada. And then they go, now we have these key cards, so you can have downloaded game, which you could have downloaded off the server, but it's not on the card. The card is still getting shipped to the store to add that cost value and all that, and have the manufacturing cost of the container. But just think of the full sense of ownership you'll have.
I wouldn't be shocked if it was pressure from GameStop to keep in the physical market.
I don't know. I could see GameStop doing that.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Especially if they plan to take them in as trading cards.
That's the whole point of them being on cards like that, is so that you can trade them in and you can give them to other people.
And that was the second part
is without the cart being in.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny too, because I could see myself being like, "Oh, that's not bad. At least I can trade in my game or whatever." But at the same time, I'd much rather just not have to worry about this false sense of ownership of the product to begin with.
One game I am looking forward to hearing about is Survival Kids from Konami. And the cool thing is, we are going to hear about that next week, maybe? What do you think,
Who got
Chris?
the code? Yeah. Chris got it.
I mean, I can get it by next week.
Survival Kids.
I
just got to put down the Dragon Quest 9 for a minute.
I was eyeing this one up. I had it in my cart ready to go. But because of buying the memory card, I decided to just go with Bravely Default.
What is it MSRPing for?
$50.
Survival Kids is?
Yep.
Oh, dang.
Wild.
Do it up, Chris.
Yeah, I love Survival Kids, so I'm looking forward to it.
Looks really fun. So,
trying to remember if I own any of them or if I just played them on my Yo-Ho-Ho systems.
Yarrrr.
I literally can't remember. No, I think it's Fisher King that I actually own. Which, by the way, is also... No, River King, I mean, not Fisher King. That's the movie. Anyways, sorry, what?
No, I ain't saying that.
Oh, no. You sound like you were starting to say something.
That is possible. All right,
well,
but no,
let's dive into games to talk about. Let's kick things off with Sperry's Next Fest Spectacular. Andy, what games did you want to talk about from Next Fest? What caught your eyes?
Dude, there are so many games throughout that I wanted to try out today. Today was actually the first day I was able to sit down and play games, since Thursday or so. But I've been watching a lot of the games. I've been watching some of the Summer Game Fest, the Xbox Showcase, the PlayStation, everything. But the Steam indies always catch my eye, man. A couple of them that I really enjoyed and really wanted to play first today was a game called, or I'll give you a couple of titles. First off was Ball X Pit, which
I've been hearing a lot about that one.
It is a Devolver Digital published game, which Devolver always delivers, It is a brick breaker. It is a roguelike. It is a survival game. You basically roll down a hallway and shoot balls at enemy characters, coming your way, and then collect orbs. And it's kind of got like it's like a mix of brick breaker meets Vampire Survivors, I would say. Once you collect enough orbs, you can upgrade your character. You can gain like a new ball or like a physical stat upgrade kind of thing, like crit chance or something like that. You can also combine balls. And so some of them, like the first one you start off with, deals bleed damage. I got like a ghost ball that passes through enemies. I got a one that kind of like does a attack through a row. It's crazy. And then you can find extra little fusion orbs that will combine the like balls as well too. And then you got a bunch of little they call them baby balls, but the baby balls that are bouncing around too and like attacking guys too. It's really cool though. There's also like kind of a homestead as well, where you can harvest resources and grow things. And I'm not 100%. The demo didn't really go into the point of that. I would say like I said, a lot of these are demos, so they give you a limited amount of information. But there's more characters, there's more balls to unlock, there's more levels to unlock, there's boss battles in here too. This one was really, really neat. And I believe I don't know when the full release is going to be. I just pulled up the Steam page and it says the demo came out on the 6th, but I don't know when everything else is coming out. That one's definitely one I would check out. I also picked up Baby Steps, which you know how much I love troll games.
Oh, God.
You play
I
as...
knew you would be interested in this. I
This
saw
one is
this
awesome,
during the
man.
state of play, and I'm like, no fucking way am I going to enjoy this one. Andy's going to love it.
Yeah. Any of those like Sisyphus or like Going Up or, like Get to Work, kind of games, man. I call them all those are troll games, in my eyes. It's difficult. Bennett Foddy is another big one if you guys know that. But in this one, you play as a character named Nate. He's unemployed. He's basically just like failing in life. Sleeps on his parents' couch. And you control his movement, left and right foot. It's called Baby Steps because he kind of walks like a baby. But with your left and right triggers, and then just like a forward or sideways movement. So you have to control his steps. I got it to the point where I was like actually like running in a sense through the terrain, but you are...
I don't believe you, but okay. No.
Well, I was walking fast, okay, and that was through areas that were like pretty flat, nothing in the way. But you're climbing over rocks. Like the demo doesn't give you a whole lot, but you're climbing over rocks, you're climbing up stairs. There's areas that if you don't cross like a plank or like a certain pathway correctly, you could fall off to the side and just like slide down the mountainside. It's one of those that is gonna be frustrating. It's gonna be like some kind of hidden story meaning behind it, but a lot of practice, a lot of angry yelling. But honestly, like I had a really good time. I plowed through the demo. It's not super long, and I would say it's much easier than some of the other games of the similar nature that I've played. Also another Devolver Digital game too. So, they're knocking these out of the park.
Devolver always brings weird shit. So
they always bring weird shit. I don't want to take a ton of time on the show, but I also played Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which is really good too. The kind of more like level-based retro.
That one definitely look interesting to me.
Yeah, that one is really fun. I would say the demo was a little goofy because there's a lot of things that they don't really tell you, like what's going on, and so you kind of figure it out yourself. Lots of like achievements inside the level of like no hit combos or do certain enemy combos to achieve like a better ranking. That one was really fun. I highly recommend that as well too. Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault. That one's coming out. Actually, I think Joe, I hit you up to get a review copy of that one, but I didn't realize when that one was coming out. I don't think
isn't
anybody
that
knows.
a way off still, or does it even have a date?
It doesn't have a date yet, no. But I got overexcited, as I always do, and I was like, Joe, please give me this one, and so
that's
no, that
new.
Moonlighter 2, exactly, yeah. Moonlighter 2, if you guys don't know, Moonlighter was a game where you are a dungeon diver by night and a shopkeep by day. And you use the money from selling items to dive deeper into the dungeons, and find cooler stuff, stuff that you can sell a little bit more. And you come back out and you'd sell it, and then you'd buy like new weapons or like upgrades and things like that to help you get deeper into the dungeon. And so they came out with a second one, and it seems like it's kind of it's called The Endless Vault. I played a little bit of it, but it does seem a little more geared toward like an endless run. They have challenges in the game. They have new perks. They have new enemies, and they have a huge graphical overhaul from the first one as well too. Windswept was another good game. It's kind of a 90s buddy platformer. You're a duck and a turtle. I really enjoyed that one as well, too. Think of like a Donkey Kong Country kind of style.
Ooh.
Did
you try Mina the Hollower?
I downloaded it. I've got it. That's a Yacht Club game.
Yes, it is.
And I'm also really excited for that one, too. I actually forgot about that one. And then you guys know EastX, I think. EastX was telling me about it towards the end. And so I got the download real quick. Love Yacht Club. I would love to play this one. That one looks absolutely incredible. So maybe tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to hop into that one as well, too.
Very cool. We're going to have Aki and Bree check that one out on our Thursday show.
Nice.
Try to give Yacht Club some attention on this one and some wish lists.
Yes,
I'm
sure.
excited for this one. This one looks so friggin' cool.
Yeah, no, that one looked really awesome, man. I forgot about it, and I wish I had played it today, but like I said, maybe tomorrow or so. But honestly,
Chris
there are
Pernell, have you seen Mina at all?
Yeah, I saw mostly because I follow Celia on Instagram. You remember we talked to her?
Yeah, there was a person, I think she was on the show years ago. I used to follow her, and back when I'm not sure if it was a Kickstarter or it was originally launched. It was on Twitter back in the day. They came up way back then, and I knew it was going to be decent just from the imagery there. So when they okay, now there's a demo, my friend was like, you got to try this demo. I'm like, why? I know I want it. There's nothing to demo. The game is something I already plan to get, unless you told me this game sucks. Don't buy it. And I'm just going to go, well, maybe I'll try the demo to confirm your suspicions, but nah, that's a sure bet. There's no need to spend the time on a demo. I'm already getting it.
Sure, this one looks really cool, and I've had this one wishlisted for quite a while too. If you guys are fans of Yacht Club games, the Shovel Knight series and a couple other ones I've done, this is an awesome addition to it as well too.
And if you want to hear our chat with Celia at Yacht Club Games, feel free to go back to episode 740 from December 21.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That takes me back. Ancient times.
Damn.
But I would say go check out the Steam Next Fest, because they're, like I said, I mean, I could go on forever about a bunch of games. There's Neon Abyss 2, there's a game called Morsels, there's a game called Drifter. Art always gets me right off hand, but then the gameplay seals the deal, and there's a lot out there that are kind of for everybody too,
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Demo.
Any other highlights? Anything else? Anything to avoid?
Let me see.
Besides
here.
baby steps.
I mean, definitely pick up baby steps. There was one that I played that I was kind of excited about it, and then it was almost like it just in my own personal taste, a letdown. And like I said, I always come with this in the grain of salt. I'm biased to my own playthroughs of games, so somebody else might really enjoy this. But I played one called The Trolley Solution, and I wasn't exactly sure what it was going to be about. It kind of starts off as it's like a black and white point and click type kind of like mini game. But it's like a quick choice. So it starts off and it's like, do you want to run over this one person, or do you want to switch the track and run over 5 people, And then it's like, and then it just like has the trolley going down the track. So you have to make a quick decision, but then it changes it and it's like, don't run over, it's like all these little mini games, that are kind of like that, like quick decisions, But then it got into like a visual novel, and I probably read for about 20 minutes, and I was like, dude, all I'm doing is reading in this. I was like, I cannot keep this going, man. And so I ended up shutting it down just because I just could not do it. But there's parts of it that are really nice and really enjoyable, but I got locked into a couple of parts that I just did not like, man. I'm
trying to make sure I remember correctly, but if you're talking about the same game that I remember, I stumbled across myself. I remember someone saying in the description of it was like, This game makes every choice you make out to be the most god-awful thing you could have possibly chosen. Like, well, this person is starving, and this person has money to get. Both of these people are starving. Who do you want to feed? And you're like, okay, well, I can feed that guy. It's like, you monster. That kid would have cured cancer. That kid just has cancer. It's like, I don't know which of these is somehow worse or better. They're both awful.
No, for sure. I don't think it's the same game, maybe, but it is all based on the trolley too. So one of the ones I ran into was like, okay, so your girlfriend is tied up on the track. But also your best friend is tied up on the other track. And then it's like, but you find out that your girlfriend recently cheated on you, but your girlfriend cheated on you with your best friend who didn't know she was your girlfriend, but your best friend has cancer. And then it was like choose, you know? And I was like, wait, what? And it's like, and so I ended up going back
Run
through a
that
couple
bitch
of levels.
over.
Yeah, I ended up going back through a couple of levels and like trying them again and trying the opposite, choice. But I don't know. It wasn't a bad game, but there was definitely parts to it that threw me off enough that I was like, okay, I'm done. Especially trying to stream a game too. I was like, all right, I don't want to play a visual novel right now. I just want to play something.
You have to put the controller down and just like, okay, team, we gotta discuss this problem because they have cancer, but she slept with him, but he didn't know, and she didn't know. Or did they know?
I'm going back to Dragon Quest where the choices are attack, skill, item.
No, you see, but that still gives you a bonus 20% experience points. But the other attack, if you use it, gives you 20 bonus in gold. Now, the gold can be spent on equipment that can increase your attack power, but the experience points can level you up to give you intrinsic attack power. Now,
honestly, this game that Pernell's rattling off, I'd play that.
Yeah, that sounds kind of cool.
That sounds pretty good.
What is that one?
Because it's not a morality tale at that point. It's just like, that's
the
just
efficiency
gameplay.
quest. It's efficiency quest. Let's
fire up RPG Maker. We're gonna make efficiency quest.
Shit. That could be could be a real game. It's like how to most efficiently save the kingdom. It's not about winning; it's doing it right.
All right, Joe, stop the podcast. We're gonna develop a game right quick.
Oh, jeez.
We'll be back.
All right. Well, Andy, I guess we'll let you get going.
Yeah, man. Good to pop in for a little bit. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, dude. Thanks for letting me talk about games.
We got to get you a review game soon.
For sure, man. For sure, dude. I've been so busy, but soccer ended slightly. The kid wanted to sign up for summer soccer, so we're starting that here in about a week or two. I don't know the schedule yet. Yeah, it's nice, but it's a lot of my nights taken up. So
keep your ass busy. Keep you off the corner.
Exactly, dude. I know. How am I supposed to make any money? I got to pay for this too, dude. But no, good to see you guys, man. I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Any final words?
Kick ass, take names, rock those names' asses.
Rock on.
Peace.
All right, have a good night, buddy.
Later, bros.
All right, next up, Scar-Led Salvation, developed by Idea Factory, Compile Heart, and Nelio, published by Idea Factory International, released May 29th on PS4, PS5, and Steam for $59.99. Play as Willow, who awakens in a deserted military facility with no memory of how she got there, accompanied only by an AI in her ear and a swarm of deadly robots. Can you uncover the mystery of what happened in the facility? Learn about Willow's past and make your way out alive. Aki, tell us about Scar-Led Salvation.
Okay, in this you play as Willow, and she wakes up one day like, ooh, what the fuck? Where am I? What is this place? What am I doing? Why do I have a big fuck-off size gun? Well, I guess it's time to shoot things! And she heads through this facility. And then it turns into a shooter. You have to kill the shit out of a bunch of robots that want to kill you because they're robots, and robots are always assholes, as we have learned from literally every game we've ever played ever. So you get to the end of this little area where you're learning how to control yourself, and suddenly you get the shit killed out of you, and you're just like, wait, what? Why am I okay? Why am I where I started again? And now you have another voice in your head that isn't yours. and it's a little AI that says that it's a military AI, and it and the military are trying to figure out who the fuck you are, why the fuck you're in this facility, because it's been shut down for a couple years, and no one's supposed to be in here. So they're not sending any rescue, because you could be a spy or something. Who knows? We can't trust you. But it was a weapons facility where they were creating a whole bunch of robots to, kill things, as well as biological weapons that aren't like biological warfare, but are instead like, here's a giant plant that can shoot energy waves at things and destroy stuff. And all of this was created apparently because aliens attacked the Earth and was kicking the shit out of the Earthlings, something fierce. You don't remember much of anything about your life, but you can remember fragments of that. So you're going through this facility, trying to find any paperwork you can to figure out why maybe you're here, and while talking to this AI, which happens in between sections of each level, because every level is a long set of stages, but each stage also has a little corridor between them, and that's where you talk to your little AI guy. Every section that it connects to is typically a whole bunch of combat. In every area, you can find a handful of new weapons occasionally from little boxes that you can find, or skills that you can add to your character. They can only carry one of each type, sadly. So, like, level 1 skills, you can equip one of those. Level 2 skills, you can equip one of those, and there's a ton of them. Some of them are like, oh, you take less damage, you can punch stronger, you have more hit points, you do more critical damage, you have a larger reticule, for instance, are just a handful of them that I found so far, because I've only unlocked level 2, because this game's fucking hard as hell. I think there's up to level 4, I believe. And yeah, you get a handful of different weapons. They all play differently. You can make any of them your primary weapon, and that weapon sticks with you through all of your deaths and revivals, as well as its level. You get to level up your weapon at the end of every stage, I guess I'll call it, of which there's 4 or 5, something like that. And yeah, the levels go up pretty high. There's an achievement for getting one to level 40 and starting a run at that. I assume it probably goes higher than that. And yeah, you get things from, here's a burst fire weapon that shoots things in large arcs that all congeal on the target, and they're homing, and it's really cool. Or here's just a standard, like, assault rifle or sniper rifle, or here's, a railgun sniper rifle, stuff like that. They're not, some of it's fantastical, some of it just seems like standard human tech. It's pretty good. And yeah, you just run through it, and you die like a bitch, and then you run through it again. You get to keep all of the abilities you've attached to yourself. You can also level those up if you find more of that same one throughout the level. Like, for instance, I had, for my level 1 item, it was defense, because I wanted to take less damage, because what's the term? I suck ass. Yeah, that. And so you can level that. The more of those defense up ones you find, you just grab them, and they just add to what you already have, and it goes up to level 10. All of them go up to level 10. And yeah, it's a fun little game. It's pretty quick to play through until you die, unless you're doing good, then it can take forever. But you will die eventually. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have to deal with it. But you get to slowly build up your character a little bit, because you're not gonna get, like, my level 10 defense took me, I think, 3 or 4 runs to get it to level 10. So you're going to be building up your character through multiple runs, and you're probably going to jump into different stages, because each stage will provide you with a new level of stuff to obtain, because at the end of the stage, that's when you get your upgrade to where now you can hold the next level of strength item. So then you start finding that in the next level. So, if you want to upgrade your defense level 1, you just play the first one, because the only thing that's going to pop up are level 1 gear. So it's nice. It does get pretty hard pretty quickly because it adds in a whole bunch of enemies that do all sorts of different things. I think one of the last enemies that I came across that was a big pain in my ass is a floating enemy that shoots out a whole bunch of homing boomerangs that just follow you, and they suck ass because they come from every direction all at once, and they will follow you to the ends of the fucking earth. So yeah, and I might have to fight like 3 of those, and then a couple enemies that shoot giant explosives at me, and some enemies that try to ram into me and explode. It's a lot all at once when you get to later levels, which is why I haven't finished the game yet. It's really fun, but it is so fucking hard.
And you put 10 hours into this.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time to just die so much.
Yeah. I died so much. It does have one problem currently.
Okay.
When you switch your primary weapon, it is random whether it's actually going to accept that switch when you die. And it might start your weapon off at level 5, which is the standard for when you very begin. Or maybe it'll keep the level that you got it to. It's very randomized on how it works because it just seems to be a little glitchy right now. They need to work on that bit a little bit because I lost a level 34 weapon and it got replaced with a level 5 weapon that I hadn't picked up that run, which really sucked. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk price on this one. It is a $60 game. I see a lot of people saying that it shouldn't be that much. What are your thoughts on the topic?
I think at most this should be like a $40 game. So I would say wait for it to be 20% or so off. I think otherwise, though, it's a pretty fun little game. It's going to take up plenty of time for you, so I think it's totally worth buying, but I would suggest a 20 to 40% off at least, because 60 is a bit much for what you get. In 2 runs, I had picked up all of the different weapons and tried them out already. I say wait for it to be 30 to 40 bucks. I think that's probably a more reasonable price for most people.
All right, well, here's the other question I have for you. Right now, it's on PS4, PS5, and Steam. September 2nd, it hits Series X and S. Will you be picking this up on Xbox?
I might. I did enjoy this. I might. This might be something I get on Xbox. It was a fun, cute little game. We'll see.
Cool. And Idea Factory Store will have a physical of the Xbox version. They have a physical of the PlayStation versions, and if you pick up a physical, you get a card inside. Hey. Next game, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, developed by Pocket Trap, published by PM Studios. Released May 28th, Series X and S, Switch, PS5, PC, $19.99. Are you ready for the first Yo-Yo-Vania? Oh, Pernell, you're going to love that name, aren't you? In this 2D top-down adventure, you'll explore a sprawling urban landscape, reinterpreting your surroundings through your mastery of yo-yo tricks. Navigate the city's many districts, fight rival crime bosses, and regain the influence of the Pipistrello family. Pernell, what is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo?
It's a Zelda-like.
Ooh.
It's better than saying fucking Yo-Yo-Vania. Oh, it's Zelda, Yo-Yo Zelda. I don't know. Because it's nothing, baby. In this game, you play as Pipistrello, who is, it's funny, he looks like a stag beetle of some sort almost early on, but based on some of the upgrades and stuff you come across, I think he's actually a bat. But anyway, Pipistrello is a young lad who just happens to be a big fan of manipulating the yo-yo. He also happens to be the nephew to one of the richest conglomerates in the city, who has pissed off a lot of people in her day. Those individuals come out of the woodwork one day while Pipistrello is visiting his aunt. Havoc ensues, or mayhem ensues, and they trap her soul in 4 different giant batteries called mega batteries. But through Pipistrello's intervention, rather than taking her soul and completely dissipating it into the batteries, he intervenes with using his yo-yo, resulting in a portion of his aunt's soul being trapped inside of his yo-yo, hence the cursed yo-yo. And now, the two of them are on an adventure, traveling across the city to reacquire the mega batteries, and in turn, her soul, and putting her back together again. And that is the main crux of the game. But the fun of the game is in literally everything else, because this game is a genuine dream of a title. I did not expect this game to be as cool as it turned out to be. It feels like a long-lost Game Boy Advance title, and I mean that in the most loving way possible. You go from section to section of the city, exploring, trying to find, where the 4 head bosses of the rival corporations are who are holding on to these batteries, defeating them and getting them back. And you fight by using your yo-yo. You can throw your yo-yo to do damage to enemies, eventually killing them and having them drop money, or rose petals, which double as health containers or health units. You can eventually learn to throw the yo-yo, which becomes especially cool because this game makes use of lots of curved ramps or curved walls. And when you throw your yo-yo at the wall, if it's at an angle, it'll ricochet off the wall and continue down the arc of the wall. So you can do a lot of trick bank shots to attack enemies, acquire items, and so on and so forth. And the other thing that makes this aspect of the game pretty cool is that the enemies use it to their advantage too. So you will see an enemy who's firing a gun at you, but then rather than taking aim at you, he'll turn around, shoot the wall, and if you're not mindful of the layout of the room, you'll just get a bullet shooting you in the back, and you won't be able to do anything about it because you weren't paying attention. I like that aspect of the game, that the enemies take advantage of the layout of the land just as much as you do. Eventually, you'll come across the aspect of the safe room. The safe room is your family's hideout, and you'll come across multiple of them, or rather, holes to get you to that hideout throughout the city. Down there, you'll come across one of your siblings who will allow you to acquire upgrade badges, which can be equipped by using upgrade buffs, which can be honed and used. But the trick about this game, which is pretty fun, is that normally in a game like this, you usually go to a shop with the prerequisite amount of money, spend the money, and get the upgrade. But instead, in this game, you can't do that. Instead, the game forces you to go into debt whenever you acquire an item. Think kind of how, I think it was that one Zelda game with the bunny rabbit hood kid, where you had to pretty much take loans out the bar. You had to borrow items so you could afford to buy them. It's a similar vibe, but in this case, the game gives you a penalty for every upgrade you take a loan out for. You can only have one out at a time, though, so you can't just upgrade yourself to infinite, ultimate difficulty. It's one item at a time. But let's say, for example, you might get one that says increases your attack power by 1. It costs you $600. You take the item, you go $600 in debt, and until you pay that debt off, you will, in turn, not be able to get health pickups by defeating enemies. They just won't show up anymore. That's the penalty. Other times it might be you lose a heart container or your attack power goes down. Sometimes they combine multiples into one. And it's paid back by collecting money after taking out the item. Every coin you pick up from that point on, it pays you 50% back what you owe. And you'll do that. And you'd be surprised how fast you pay off these loans. It's not so bad. And there's other things to do with the money in the game, too. So it's not like you're just upset because all the money you have is just not going anywhere, but halvesies for paying off your debt. You will spend that money on other stuff, too. Trust me. You'll unlock new purchasables in your warehouse or in your hideout over time. There are overworld and underworld sections, as in the underworld in this case would be the sewers. You can find multiple sewer traps where you can go underground and find secret items, battle rooms to collect hordes of money, or occasional upgrades or badges. Badges in this game can be equipped to Pipistrello using badge points to give you additional perks and bonuses, ranging from things like increase, damage negation time after taking a hit, or increase attack power, more health, etc., etc. And there are a lot of badges in this game, so don't think there's a total of 5 or whatever. you will be choosing from badges and making decent choices on which ones are good for you and which ones aren't. The feel of exploring this game's levels or environments is a lot of fun. Again, it feels like a classic Zelda game. And for those who are looking for that, it's been a while since we've had one. No, I don't think Echoes of Wisdom counts in the same feel, though I did like Echoes of Wisdom. It's not the same thing. This game gives you that classic, dungeon overworld exploration vibe. But I like the fact that it takes place in a modern scene. I like the idea that it deals heavily in the concept of like excessive capitalism. And it's not heavy-handed capitalism for those who are just like, oh god, it's woke. Shut up. It's not that anyway. It's lighthearted and fun. I came across a couple jokes throughout the game that I mentioned on my social media because I like it that much. The music is fantastic. Everything about it is just great. I can't even think of a thing that I could say is bad about this title. Sometimes it might be that I forgot the bad thing. In this case, I didn't forget shit. I just can't think of anything. The game is wonderful. I think people should buy it. Oh, one thing I should mention also for sure, though, is that this game is not a walk in the park. They are lenient in regards to like, oh my god, they're not even lenient. If you die, you lose some money. You lose 25% of your money or some crazy amount of money every time you die. Nothing that makes me, cry in a corner. But if you die a lot of times, you're going to go broke fast. And enemies can be relentless. The dungeon puzzles or room puzzles can also be pretty challenging. Like having you sitting there going, how in the hell am I supposed to get that item over there? There's a switch and there's these two pillars. What am I supposed to freaking do? Like there's parts like that. But it's all fun. Like there was never a point where I came away saying, this sucks. I just can't succeed. It was more like, damn it, this time I'm going to get it. This time I'm going to get it. And also you can't save scum because the game saves as you enter rooms. And there's no save points. It's just saves. So no save scumming if you die a lot. You're just broke, baby. Deal with it. But it doesn't ruin the fun of the game. You're going to enjoy solving room puzzles and getting the money as the reward or getting a new badge upgrade or whatever. This game is just legit like that. And I behoove you to purchase it when you can.
I didn't even get to ask my question.
Yeah, you can. I could say it again.
Okay. $20. What's your verdict?
This is a buy it and then some. Pick up Pipistrello today. It's not a pizza delivery guy, and it's not DiGiorno. It's just that much fun.
Very good. Next up, Covenant of Solitude, developed by MAGITEC, published by KEMCO. Released June 5th on Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, PS5, and PC for $19.99. Some were born with the power to control monsters, genies. Feared, exploited, and hunted, these gifted few walk a lonely path. In the remote village of Listy, a boy named Fort hides this curse in silence. But when war crashes through his home and blood stains the streets, Fort is forced to embrace the truth of who and what he is. His fate is set in motion in a story of bonds, betrayal, and the cost of power. Chris, what's Covenant of Solitude?
Okay, Covenant of Solitude is the, of course, latest in the KEMCO, conveyor belt of JRPGs that we've enjoyed for many years now. So a little bit of background to this because, the KEMCO RPGs are numerous. I can't even count how many I've reviewed at this point. But KEMCO works primarily with a couple of developers that, you see most of the games come from, and that's X-Create. That's by far the most. X-Create makes most of their games. And then there's Hitpoint, who make this other certain kind of game that I actually like the most. Then Magitech is an interesting one because they don't really, I don't think they make games anymore. I believe they stopped some years ago. Their website only goes up to 2022. And, and even then it's like, it seemed like, their actual website update was like back in like 2018 or something. So I don't even know what Magitech does anymore. So a lot of the KEMCO games that come out from Magitech are actually ports of like Android, iOS RPGs from about 2013, a little, give or take a few years. This one actually is from 2013 originally. So we'll get to that in in a bit as to what that means for how the game like performs and what all it does. However, like the other Magitech games, this one is pretty heavy on story. Plot enjoyers will really like, especially the way this game kind of opens. Because, yeah, you play as Fort. He is a male protagonist, of course. And, yeah, he basically is persecuted by his peers for being what's called a genie. A genie is somebody who can speak with and summon monsters. People don't like this because people are generally hostile towards monsters because, monsters want to kill them. But that's apparently more due to like a miscommunication than, simple monsters just being unintelligent, kind of animals. But not even animals, just like forces of evil. So therefore, anybody who can speak to a monster must be a monster themselves, right? Well, turns out the real monsters are the imperialists who come through and try to slaughter everyone. And indeed, our peace-loving Fort, who doesn't even know his like own strength, finds out that he can then summon monsters and proceeds to go and try and save the day. That's not all that happens, of course. There's a lot of twists and turns, but we're not going to talk about those because those are in the game itself. But needless to say, it's actually a pretty twisty-turny type of plot, and that's always nice for a JRPG, especially one that's like shorter on the gameplay end. There's like a Dragon Quest game you're going to spend 350 hours on usually only has a couple of plot twists, and even though they're big ones, it's not like happening all the time. But anyways, so the interesting thing about this game, again, it's presented as a flat 16-bit style kind of RPG Maker RPG, right? So lots of assets just being kind of arranged into mazes, with a map on the corner, and battles against enemy sprites who either do or don't make sense to the scene that they're in, depending on your imagination, I suppose. It's like not world beating innovation in the terms of aesthetics. That's always the case when it comes to these kind of games, but yeah, for this one, they did throw in like a pretty interesting twist in that you actually make your own party in this one. So Fort is, of course, a necessary character. It's not only that you get to choose your characters like race, their names, and things like that, you also choose their jobs. So it's a job system kind of game. So yeah, Fort is considered a summoner, which is a kind of best of all worlds support and attack class. And then you get to just build a stable of up to 20 characters, 3 of which you can take at any time. You have male and female characters, palettes with different color palettes as well in the different races, which are like dragon people, beasts, which are either cat women or furries. So you can have an entire army of furries if you really want, or of cat girls.
Yay.
Either way, we're gonna be fine. Same thing, of course, with dragons. It's either dragon dudes who look like dragons or dragon women who look like sexy women with dragon accessories.
See, this game understands where it's at.
Yeah.
It's just
vampires.
Make an hockey joke, and she chimes in.
Yeah, vampires are silly because they're Japanese vampires. So it's either it's just men and women with pointy ears and top hats, which is pretty good. It's kind of Spike McFang looking people. So no sexy vampires, not any more than anyone else could be. But yeah, your race confers, of course, certain stat tendencies. However, your job will, you can pick any job for any race. So you can either, the way the game presents it is that you can have like a dragon priest. So a dragon who has great physical strength, but in a priest role, which means that they're going to be able to tank a lot, but also heal damage. So, you get to make choices like that. Or there's also fairies who are very good at magic, at healing magic and stuff. So you can like have a fairy priest who heals better but can't take as much damage. But if you make a fairy fighter, then I don't know. That's good. So yeah, I built my team, and yeah, basically you go through the different scenes, trying to, like I said, get to the bottom of the political intrigue because Ford is recognized as a particularly powerful genie person. There's different people who want to tap into that, so you kind of have to figure out who you can trust and who, what's going down as far as that goes. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much because, again, it's all there in the game. Which, by the way, an extreme rarity, but I guess it's because of the game's age. It actually has a Wikipedia page that will tell you the entire plot. So if you really want to know, look there. Yeah, I know. It's so rare that they even have an entry, but because they're usually like purple text in a list of like KEMCO games or whatever. But this one actually, clearly it was just one fan that wrote the review, because they kind of review it in the first paragraph, which is kind of silly. Very un-Wikipedia type of prose there. Anyways, so you go through the game like that. Again, you're just going through maps and mazes, and like I said, trying to fight those enemies. The game is pretty challenging if you only are playing the base game. That is to say, there's no actual difficulty settings, but there are a lot of purchasable DLC things to make the game much easier. Up to $20 worth, I counted. And, that's things like no encounters, double experience, double damage, and things like that. No skill point usage, like that type of stuff. But yeah, the game can actually be pretty challenging because, like, the first boss, for instance, has 2 priests with them. And they can heal not only the boss, but themselves. And so you kind of have to, like, whittle away the damage on one of them at a time before you even can take on the boss. Otherwise, it just ends up that you're going to get, fragged yourself. And they're pretty powerful for the level. So, it's a game that doesn't mess around on difficulty, but again, it's not like too terribly bad. But yeah, if your first boss is healing himself somehow, then you know that you're in for a time with the game. Overall, I like what this game is bringing. The thing, of course, about it, though, is that it is a mobile game from 2013, and it has not, from what I can tell, having played a lot of these games, it hasn't had like much in the way of updates for it. So, the other thing that kind of, I'll get into that, but it kind of moves a little chunkily. I would say, characters don't have a lot of frames of animation. Enemies are static. They're just there. There's a lot of course, reused assets because, again, you're dealing with build your own characters, and they have, just like I said, color palettes between them. So it's not like Etrian Odyssey where you actually have a big range of portraits to choose from. These sprites appear in the game, so you kind of have a limited choice there. Music's pretty good, but not like anything super impressive or anything like that. The strength of this game really is in like the actual story it's telling and the challenge of it, and like kind of building the party, which is pretty cool for what you get out of it. But yeah, I mean, at the same price, you can get one of the newer KEMCO games, which usually run better, look better. Some of them are better written, not all of them. But yeah, that's kind of like the trade-off that happens, and this is pretty consistent when it comes to KEMCO MAGITEC games, because like I said, they're of a little bit more of a vintage, and they come from like the mobile world of 12 years ago. So, and they didn't like take the time to rebuild it or anything like they did with Alphadia, where they basically rebuilt the whole game and, really churned out a really good, game remake with its own sequel built in. So, that's like a great example of KEMCO reusing their old IP. This one I would say is not, but is still a pretty good RPG.
All right. Well, $20. Need a verdict.
$20. I'm going to say try it if you're new to KEMCO. This one's not like one of the top shelf games. There's definitely a whole lot that are, like I said, a better use of the time. If you are into KEMCO games, if you are, have a pretty good understanding of what you're getting into, the story really sells this one. Like I said, the system, the fact that it's a build your own party, I like all that. Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the other thing that annoys me about it is that the characters only have one portrait each, because they do the visual novel style, showing the half of the character's like torso along with like every line of dialogue, and the main character only has one expression, which is this kind of benevolent kind of smile. And this is happening while things are like going to hell, and he's like, having a real bad like emotional moment. He's still got just this little smile on his face, and it's like, oh man, this takes me out of it, man. Anyways, yeah, so I would ultimately give it a try it. But if you're really intrigued by it, there's nothing in this game that will really offend as long as you know what you're getting into. So there you go.
All right. Next up, POPUCOM, developed by Hypergryph, published by Gryph Frontier. Released June 1st on Steam for $19.99. Venture together with your friends on an unknown planet. Use color switching, match 3 shooting, and artifact powers to overcome challenges and keep advancing. What lies ahead of you is an adventure filled with wonder, hope, and much more to discover. Pernell, what's POPUCOM?
So POPUCOM is basically a co-op third-person shooter that exists in a world where you take a third-person shooter and combine it with a match 3 puzzle game. Seems strange? Well, yeah, it kind of is. And yet it actually works for the better.
Would you call it unique?
Actually, yes, but you did, so I don't have to. Sucker. But no, absolutely, it would be that word. That word. In this game, at this offset, well, first and foremost, that needs to be stated is you cannot play this game alone. You need to have a buddy. So you need to, if you decide this is a game that you are interested in, you need to have, make a devil's pact with a friend and commit to playing this game together as one awesome POPUCOM unit.
Here is a question. Does it have any kind of share play feature, or does each person need to own the game?
If it does, I saw nothing mentioning it. So, buddies unite. Drop a coin on each of you. Drop a coin and get to going with it.
Gotcha.
Now, with that said, if you've gotten past the point where you're like, okay, I could have a friend that would play this if the game is good, I'm ready to consider it. Tell me more. Well, then, I'm telling you more. At the beginning, you choose whether you want to do story mode or party mode. I did not do party mode. I focused on story because I wanted to, just see the game out. You create an avatar. They don't have particularly complicated options, but they're enough to just say, I have a little wacky, cute little bubble popping kid who seems pretty cool looking. You can choose their hair style, hair color, their eye color, their facial expression, and stuff like that. And once you're done, they throw you into the game world proper. You are being tasked with stopping this benevolent space evil force by building a rocket/missile to blow it up. But you have to go and acquire a combination of blueprints and these little magical worker bees called the happy bees or whatever they're called in order to produce this thing and get things done. And you do this by going from level to level, unlocking them as you go to do so. You start out with the inner ring of stages, which is how they kind of get your feet wet and learn more about the game and acquire a certain object. And then afterwards, they expand the game out. And you'll keep doing this ad nauseam until the game is over. But what is the gameplay exactly? Well, once you've chosen a level, you are dropped down in a ship and tasked with exploring it and getting to the end of the level. You're running around. You can jump. You can fire a gun. And there's also a button that lets you change your color. What? Yeah, you change your color. And that becomes very important because very quickly into the level, you'll eventually come across the friend that you clearly agreed to play the game with. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to press start. And then you have to work in tandem to complete the stage. your co-oping happens and it becomes important for a number of different reasons. The most important and obvious thing that shows up in the trailers if you watch the game get played is the enemies that you fight usually involve themselves being some sort of colorful, gelatinous creatures, usually bubble-shaped or something. They can only be killed by being attacked by the gun, a gun firing the bullet matching their color. So a green monster can be killed by a green bullet. One player might be green, but also yellow. And the other player might be blue, but also red. And you have to press your color change button to switch between the two colors of which you represent. So if the blue and red person has to fight a series of blue and red monsters, they have to switch between the two forms to kill them. Think Silhouette Mirage in that capacity, except matching color instead of opposite. Once you've killed an enemy, you'll get currency in the form of points, which can also be spent on cosmetic upgrades at the main station. Sometimes you'll fight enemies that have a little bit of a complex color combination where it might be a monster that's blue, but he's shielded by orange and yellow bubbles. And now you need orange shots and yellow shots to clear out the bubbles so you can shoot the blue core. And now you start to see where this is starting to come together. And then you start eventually getting little equipment upgrades, which gives you different bonuses, such as the ability to put up a shield wall or the ability to turn into a bomb and roll around and blow stuff up. Samus says hi. There's like at least 4 of them, and there's another few. There's like 1 or 2 hidden, I think. So I didn't get to the end yet because I have to coordinate another play session with the friend I was playing it with. But I will tell you this: I booted up with the intent of playing it for about an hour. We played it for 4.5. This guy has 2 kids, and he never sleeps. And he wanted to squeeze out as many levels as he could before he started falling asleep on the controller.
Damn,
he was having that much fun. It is a good game. We were having legitimate fun. The puzzles were never
fun in a video game. What's that?
Who'd have freaking thought, right? But it's really cool how this works. Like the game has puzzles, but they're never too heady. It's just more like, okay, how do I pull this item here, knowing that if I push it towards here, it'll shatter because I'm the wrong color to be pulling this object, stuff like that. But they're fun puzzles in the sense that when you solve them, you do feel good, and you reap the benefits of whatever items are hidden behind like collectible stickers that go in your sticker book, or hidden Happy Bees, which are again the people that are building the rocket. You can find a bunch of them hidden in certain levels. Finding them is pretty cool. And just sitting on the game over Discord, which is what we did, and just trying to discuss how we should work together to solve individual problems. We're going, holy crap, this boss is a jerk. Quick, get on my shield while I run over a lava that would kill you, but is perfectly safe to me. Which, by the way, if the developers are listening, that is by far my favorite boss so far, is having to carry my partner across lava before it can melt him. It's fun. And while certain areas in battle can get pretty tough as far as like the bubbles are spraying at you and expecting you to do block or whatever, the game is very kind about surviving because you get 3 hearts. If you get hit, one of your hearts jumps out of your body and it gets encased in a bubble. You can shoot the bubble to break it and then collect your heart to get it back. Counter to that, also, your partner can take the heart and use it to bolster their own health. So you could have like 5 hearts and they could have 2. Because you were a greedy bitch. I'm sorry, 5-1. I'm sorry, because it's 3-3. So that can happen. Alternatively, if you happen to run out of hearts, you just become encased in a bubble. And you can struggle to pop it and become free to move around again. I don't know if there's a way to truly, truly die, because between my partner and I, we never got beyond the pop out of the bubble phase of a situation. So we always pressed on. Even though there were a few bosses that was like, crap, I keep getting knocked in this stupid bubble because he's a dick. It happens. But it's fun to play. And it's very enjoyable. I wish there were like more you could do with your money as opposed to buying, cosmetic upgrades. But I do like that at least you can use those things to buy something. In addition to that, as you play through the game, you'll unlock little mini games that'll show up in the ship's arcade or your base's arcade. So you can go there and play those. This is one dumb volleyball game where you can't control the direction of the guy, only the fact that he can jump, and then the fact that he rocks back and forth determines the direction you'll go in when you press the jump button. And we actually played like 3 rounds of that ridiculous ass game. We played rounds of it because we were having fun with it. The game is just good. Like, I'm happy I got to review this because I wanted to buy it, and I was concerned about getting someone else to play it with me. Getting the second code was able to allow me to just foist it on a friend who didn't have to guess or question if he was going to buy it or not, and we had a great time playing it. How you would do it with your
to me.
Oh, it absolutely is. This game is legit. It's. I'll say it is unique in the structure, in the grand scheme of things. And I feel like this is the sort of game that people should be giving a chance to. It's just stupid fun. And I recommend it whole friggin' heartedly.
All right. Well, it's a $20 game. If you pick it up in the next couple of days, you could get it for $17.99. That ends June 15th. Also, if you're interested, for a limited time only, you can get a Rabbids crossover DLC pack for $4.99. I believe that is only available through the end of the month. For now, what are your thoughts on the game and that DLC?
I mean, it's hard to say if I would buy the DLC or not, but I will tell you this. The DLC was given to us, and we had multiple moments where we were just laughing at the rabbit sounds that the character was making. My friend used the rabbit helmet, and we were just laughing because we had nostalgia for Raving Rabbids. We used to play the crap out of it on the Wii, and just hearing rabbit noises again was joyful in and of itself. We were laughing. So the game, definitely worth it. The DLC, how fond are you of rabbits? If you love rabbits, then I mean, you may scoff at the foot or the $5 or whatever. In which case, go for it.
All right. One last game to talk about tonight is Remnants of the Rift, developed by Bromio, published by Mooncat Games, released May 29th out of Steam Early Access and on the Switch for $14.99. How far would you go to find closure to the end of another dimension? As a dimension diving merc, Morgan must ride the frequencies between worlds to discover the secrets of a new reality. Pause, plan, and play in a groovy retro-futuristic world in this real-time roguelite action game. Pernell, tell us about your time with the Remnants of the Rift.
So, my feelings of what's going on in this game could be either here nor there. I just know the gameplay is what it is, and I'll talk more so about that. And I'll eventually mention why towards the back as to why that is. So, in Remnants of the Rift, you control Morgan, who was a dimension diver, and pretty much all of your gameplay time is spent doing exactly that: diving into the dimensions, the pretzel wagon way. So what this entails is going from like area to area, and they're all kind of randomly generated, so you don't know what they're going to look like or rather what the layout will be. And you are fighting monsters until you eradicate them from that environment, and then eventually can press on to the next level. I'll talk a little bit more about all of that as I go through the lines here. You enter a level. You have a rectangular object standing somewhere in the middle or somewhere near the middle. This is the modulator. This is the device that is keeping you capable of moving between the dimensions. Enemies, when they spawn onto the map, and they will over time, are attempting to kill you, or rather, let me rephrase it, they're attempting to hurt you, but also destroy that modulator. Because again, that's what's keeping you tethered there. If you, the main character, take a hit, it does nothing to you in the form of damage. Instead, it displaces you. It stuns you a little bit, and it might even move your character to an odd random place on the map. At which point, once you unstun, you have to work your way back. Other than that, you need to protect that modulator, because that's the real moneymaker, and that's the thing that actually has hit points. And how do you do that? Well, this game takes place in real time. You can move from square to square. The enemies can move from square to square. And the enemies can attack you. They can attack random areas in hopes of harming you, large swaths of spaces or individual spaces. And they can attack the modulator. You're moving in tandem as you need to line yourself up to attack enemies. And once you feel confident and ready to do some damage, you can use the right bumper buttons to cycle between the attacks you've got. Each attack attacks a certain location or area of range of location, a range of area. Sometimes they have a trigger condition, such as a mine, where it won't happen unless you step on it. And other than that, once you select the attack, it will go off. And then the final attribute to an attack is the cooldown, how long it takes for you to be allowed to use it again. This cooldown ticks down in real time, just like everything else. So you need to be mindful of having the means to do what you need to do when you need to do it, instead of being stuck waiting for all your abilities to cool down, which I'll be blunt, you're going to be doing that a lot because that's just how the game works. Eventually, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, once you've killed all the enemies on that floor, you'll move on to the next level. But before you move on, you'll get a choice of one, or you'll get a reward. The reward being what the reward for that floor is. It could be currency, of which there are two kinds. It could be a chip, like a superconductor. Superconductor chips allow you to modify an attack into a new type of attack or form of attack. And then there's also like modifier type chips, which allows you to change or add a bonus effect or attribute to a regular attack that you have in your kit. Once you've made that selection, you are then going to choose the next location you're going to go to. Not so much by what the location looks like or what is contained there, so much as what the reward will be once you succeeded at taking it on and, whatever. So you'll be doing that. Eventually, you'll find the occasional shop where you can spend one of the two currencies to either buy new chips, upgrade your characters, abilities, or superconductors or whatever. You can upgrade an attack to another level if you have the means to afford it, and then on until you move on again and go to the next battle zone. In the event that you die and get sent back out, you go back to your house after likely some sort of wacky, jokey-based cinema scene or narrative-based cinema scene. You'll go back to your house, pet your dog Moog, and then proceed to take on another contract and try again. Though you can also spend one of your currencies at home to purchase new attacks, which would go get added to your kit, and then you can swap them in and out as needed. And also some different perks like increasing the power of your modulator or whatever, giving you more hit points to it. And that's essentially the game. The funny thing about this game and why I was like, kind of rudimentary weird about it, is that I was prepared to say this game was really, really bad, because I was playing it on the Steam Deck. That is my preferred way to play games. I know every game's not, determined to work on it. And I know in the case of this game, I think its status was unknown. So
it still is listed as unknown. I know you were mentioning you were having some graphical issues with it. I don't know if we could ding it because it just says unknown.
No. I'm not personally digging it. I'm not doing that. I'm just noting that my primary method of playing the game or my games is on Steam. And initially, I thought what I was seeing was how the game was supposed to look. It was very ugly. Like, it goes for like a 70s vibe, and the colors reflect that. But for some reason, on the Steam display, the colors were like heavily dark brown and red. So I could not make out a lot of what I was seeing on the map, and all the characters looked particularly strange. But again, I thought initially that was how the game was meant to run. So I just dealt with it. And I was being frustrated and annoyed about my progress and not experiencing much. So I gave up. I was like, this game sucks. I can't deal with this right now. And I'm busy. I don't have time. But then I decided to eventually give it another chance on my actual laptop, which I can use, but I'm not as tethered to it. So it's harder for me to sit down and play on a computer. But eventually I was able to do that, realize, I'll be damned, this does match the way it looks on the Steam page. So it wasn't just a fluke. And I was able to actually give the game proper due. And when I did that, I realized I liked the game a fair bit. I just wish that the music had more variety in the early levels of the game. And I wish that your attack growth, like basically the abilities you had access to, I wish there was more variety in those early on, because you'll start seeing the same superconductors very quickly. You'll start seeing some of the same modifiers very quickly, and you'll be using the same kit of attacks for a while. So if you're having troubles, that's going to be a burden to you. In addition to that, and I'm not sure if there's even a way to make this better for players, early on in the game, being able to tell what monsters are going to do is pretty straightforward. You'll see a little manta ray looking thing, and you'll see a little yellow arrow pointing in a direction, which means he's going to go there on his next turn. If he's going to attack me, I'll see a line of red squares indicating he's going to attack firing in this line. Get the hell out of the way. That's cool. Eventually, you'll start getting to areas where you're getting bombarded with enemies. And under normal circumstances, that's not a big deal. So much as you'll find yourself just seeing swarms of red squares and orange squares flashing, because something's about to do something to those squares. What enemy's about to do it? I don't know. One of them, I guess. I figure over time you'll get used to what enemies do what, and you'll just be able to gauge a 3x3 square. Chances are it's the big fat monster with the long honking nose. He's about to stomp that square zone because I know he stomps square zones. And that's fun. But it'll take a little bit to get used to it. In the meantime, you'll start seeing levels as you're diving and just see colorful squares everywhere. Like, I have no idea who I'm starting my attacks on because I don't know what bastard is doing this to me. I just got to keep moving and hope that nothing hits me until I kill them. So it makes it a little harder to plan when all hell breaks loose and you can't, attribute the different attacks to the proper monsters on the screen. But that's a small bit, and I think that's something that likely will become ironed out as you play more and you become familiar with what enemies do what and what their behaviors are. So with that aside, I think the game is pretty fun. I think visually it looks pretty cool. I think the music is great when I'm not tired of it looping over and over again. So I will give it a genuine buy. Not buy, a try. You should do the thing, actually. I'm sorry.
I don't even have to be here when you do your reviews. That's awesome. I'm just going to clock out and go home.
No, don't do that because then my review's over and then Chris is going to be like, what? Is somebody? My cue.
All right. Well, Remnants of the Rift clocks in at $14.99. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a genuine try. And the reason why I say try as opposed to buy for the most part is you might get a little bit frustrated for some of the real-time action starts getting a little haywire like I described. In addition to that, I do believe that while it will open up eventually, a good chunk of the early game, you will be using the same attacks and seeing the same modifiers and the such. And that can get old for a lot of people who don't have the tenacity to say, I'm going to just press on, even if I die. I'm okay with seeing the same shit over and over again because eventually I'll see something new. So for people who hear that, you might like it a little bit more, but I think it's a try just because I can't guarantee it won't turn a number of people off.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you to the three of you for hanging out the whole time, being here, chatting, keeping me company. Big thanks to Andy for popping on, hanging out for the chat and to talk about Steam Next Fest a bit. I always feel bad because Steam Next Fest is such a cool promotion to show off so many awesome games of the future. And we get dozens of emails can you check out our demo? I have a crew of 6 people. We can't.
It's not just that, but I don't know because I think it's because I'm an old man, but I have a hard time giving a crap about the future when I'm stuck dealing with today. And I'm not saying that in a negative way either. I'm saying we are swimming in an abundance of games to play all the time. How does anyone have time to anticipate a game that's coming out a year from now when I can't even get through the 5 games I was anticipating 2 years ago that are out now?
I'm still trying to beat Avowed.
Yeah. Everybody's all done, clear, obscure and shit. I'm still near the beginning and having fun with it. Could you give me some time with this, please? Let me simmer in it. I just don't have the time to care. I do enjoy going through and seeing trailers for games and adding to my wish list. That's fun. But the idea of taking time away from a game I could be playing through to play a demo of a game that's going to wet my whistle and then make me want more, but I have to wait till Q1 2026 to experience it. Now it's just going on my wish list anyway. Why bother? I'll just wait until it's available to be played and go from there. Maybe by then I might have some time to play it.
I kind of like when we get reminders for our backlogs, Final Fantasy 16. I bought that on PS5 on launch week. Still haven't touched it. Launched on Xbox. Hey, back to the top of my backlog.
The reminder's been hit. The beacon's been lit. Get to playing it.
Yep. Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox. I'm excited about
it. Yeah, but just remember, everybody. Again, we live in an era where we have, as long as you can afford it anyway. That's an important key point there. We are living in an era with an abundance of choice in our entertainment. Like, we're not hurting to find fun games. That's why when everyone's like, "There's just no games to play," I just look at them like, "Just shut up! Just stop! Just stop! There's too much. I'm going to die, be on my deathbed, going, if only I could have played Final Fantasy 22." I got backed up and I'm stuck on Final Fantasy 19. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm going to be doing when I die.
Those are Pernell's
like,
last words.
I could have played Final Fantasy 22.
I never beat Legend of Dragoon.
Oh no, I haven't.
I am ashamed of you.
Most of us didn't. It's okay. Come on through. Most of us didn't finish Legend of Dragoon. Walk on it.
It's like the only PlayStation game Aki likes.
It legitimately is basically the only PlayStation game I like.
So anyway, music this episode. We're going to wrap up the show with some Mario Kart from the OneUps. Anyone have a preference on which OneUps Mario Kart track we play?
The sexiest one.
Have they done Moo Moo Meadows?
Their album has title screen, Mario Circuit, Donut Plains, Ghost Valley, Bowser Castle. No, I'm going to finish. Choco Island, something about Koopa Beach, Vanilla Lake, Battle Mode, Rainbow Road.
Donut Plains. Nothing's changed.
Anyone have any final words to end the show?
I'm setting up my Switch 2 now. And I chickened out. I am doing the system transfer.